All right, we're going to talk about baby camping gear as well as some tips and tricks if you're taking a baby or a toddler out camping. I've been getting quite a few comments that have been asking what gear we use for our 18-month-old. We've been taking him since he was like 6 months, and then you just have some different challenges at every stage. So we got gear that we're going to show you that we've used for him, as well as some tips and stuff. I've had also another set of comments that ask about advice on how to take a baby or a kid camping. So we'll do some tips and tricks at the end after we do the gear. All right, so I've kind of laid some of the stuff out here. I also have a few things in the truck we'll take you around. So let's just start with some of the stuff here. This is some pretty normal stuff. So always have some backup diapers and then wipes. So we use wipes for everything. That's not just for changing diapers. I've carried wipes in my vehicles well before I was even married. So these just stay in the door pockets on each side, on driver and passenger. They're in camp bins. They're everywhere. So we use wipies to clean up dinner, change diapers, clean up, wipe down tables, do all sorts of stuff. So we use those. Backup diapers, like I said. And then these are really cool. I did not know about these. My wife had to find these. But when you're camping, the simpler you can be, the less messy you can be, the better. And so this is actually just a hold formula. So the very top one, you just stack these all full of formula, and then it just pours out the top. And then they're kind of like serving sizes, I guess you can say. So you literally just switch them around every time you use one. It's just a little less messy than like a big can of formula. Especially like we had ended up having to do a lot of stuff inside the tent. We're changing diapers, we're making bottles inside the tent, and a scooper with formula just gets messy. So this is like almost like quick disconnect, like pour out the formula, ready to go. So those are pretty sweet. This is his sleeping bag. It's made by Morrison Outdoors. They have 3 different sizes. We bought it when he was like 6 months. He was supposed to be in the smallest size, but I didn't want to pay to have to buy 3 of these over the next like 2 years. So I actually sized up on his, and he was a bigger kid anyway. But this one does say ages 2 to 4, and it's the middle size, but we just decided to size up and do the bigger one instead. Really what makes them different is they have arms. So it's really a safety reason. Any regular sleeping bag, they can technically like slip inside of it. So this one almost turns it into more of a coat with arms, and then it zips up kind of around their neck so they can't fall in and suffocate. And this is a 20-degree bag, so it keeps them pretty warm most of the year. This is our geyser shower. So I have a full video on this. So if you don't know what these are, I'm not going to spend a ton of time explaining it. So I'll link that video instead. But these are like super low using water portable showers, if you will. So you literally just plug one end into a power source, a power station, cigarette outlet in your car, whatever it is. And then it has a water pump built in, and then it just pumps water through the sponge. So the reason it's good for a baby is they get super dirty. So like last year when he was a lot smaller, we didn't ever really have to use that because he stayed pretty clean. He couldn't walk and stuff yet. But now he's just like a maniac that just rolls in the dirt and like throws stuff everywhere and gets filthy. So I know we'll be using that more this year for sure. Probably just to kind of clean all the dirt off of him and stuff at camp before we go to bed. And so that'll be pretty convenient for that. That way he's not super dirty inside the tent. This is his camp chair. We got this on Amazon. Baby Delight Go With Me. They're pretty cool. So they've kind of have like, it kind of is a high chair, but for camping. So you have this little tray here that can come on or off, if you can figure it out. It really is pretty easy, but there's a tray there. Otherwise it just turns into a regular camping chair. And then we completely forgot this feature existed at all, and we never used it. But they make this little thing where their legs go through so that they can actually stand up. If they're like not wanting to sit, they can stand up there, still be buckled in, kinda, and then still have like a tray as well, so they can eat and stuff. All this gear right here is actually tools and first aid kit and some various things. So that's not baby gear, but when it comes down to it, some people I talk to in the comments, they're really nervous about getting out because I guess they're just worried about what's going to happen or that it's not going to go well. I get into a few tips of things you can do to kind of minimize that risk, but from like a gear perspective, one of the major things you can do to make sure that you're safe no matter what is having tools to make sure that your vehicle can be repaired, hopefully in some way if it's something simple. So that's my entire toolkit that's always in the truck. A whole socket set there, a first aid kit. I should have a much better one than this, like a full trauma one, but that's just a simple one. Still better than nothing. And then I have like all of the tools I need, bottle jacks and tire kits and everything I need to change a spare tire or a flat tire if I needed to. This is something I recommend every single person have, and this is a jump pack. So this isn't to like, I mean, you can use them to charge stuff, but ideally you would just always have this charged all the time and it never leaves your vehicle. And for one purpose, and that's to jump start the battery on your car or truck if your battery happens to die, because you're not going anywhere with a dead battery. So again, not baby gear, but super necessary, and is like one thing that will keep you safe in case you have a breakdown or something of that sort. That's going to help you get home. Okay, the other thing I have set out here is a diesel heater. So the hoses and the cables for it I have tucked away somewhere else because I didn't want to get them out. But this is a diesel heater, a Chinese diesel heater I ordered on Amazon. And this for like the really cold months and for the winter is really convenient. Like I showed you before, his sleeping bag is only 20 degree. So if it ever is going to get possibly colder than that, there was no other way to keep him warm. They don't make a 0 degree or anything like that. And you're changing diapers and you're changing their clothes and all that kind of stuff up there. And so a diesel heater really makes that feel like you're staying inside of an RV or a trailer with a real heater. We went camping even in the middle of the winter, and everything in there was like, we had it to like 70 degrees and it was super warm. So for a baby, it's really nice to actually have some real heat in there. As an adult, you can probably just kind of suffer through it with like a really good sleeping bag. You can sleep really well, but to change and do other things can be really uncomfortable in cold weather. And so the diesel heater was nice to kind of keep us a little more comfortable in colder temperatures. So I set up the tent because this is actually a big part of our setup for having a kid with us. This is the 23-0 Armadillo A3. It's a really big tent and it's the size of a king bed in there. So if you have anything that's like a lot smaller, the label on it might say that it can fit like up to 3 people. But you got to realize that you're changing clothes, you're changing the kids' clothes, you're changing diapers, doing formula, doing a lot of stuff. So the more square footage you can have inside of a tent to have it a little more roomier, the better. So previously we've had some smaller sized ones. Going up to a king size was a huge deal, and right now is really comfortable for all 3 of us to sleep in there because we can just sleep side by side. This is his like little backseat suite here that he's got going on. So car seat right there, and then the things I wanted to show you in here is his iPad and then this little fan. So this is just an old iPad of mine, an iPad mini. We bought that little kids case on Amazon and I tied it there with a bungee string. And then this is just a small little USB fan from Amazon. So that recharges with USB, and then obviously that's an iPad that charges with an Apple charger. So I can actually run chargers to both of those just right to the back of the center console. Here is some power options there that you just plug in USB right there. So that makes it so that these can just be charged all the time. So if we're on the road, I just keep those charged and plugged in. The iPad's nice for if he's really fussy, you can watch a show. People are controversial about that for some reason. I get comments saying that we shouldn't do that, but you're out exploring and the idea is to out and have fun, and so whatever it takes to get them to get there and to be happy, we like to do. So, and then the fan is just nice. Even if your AC works really good, backs of cars and trucks just don't get great airflow. So if it's really hot, it's nice just to have a little bit of air blowing on him to kind of circulate that AC back to him as well. Okay, so that's what are you looking at? That's pretty much all the gear. So let's do some tips, I guess, some things that we've learned. Every kid's so dang different, so I don't know how much this will apply to everyone's kids, but a few of these things should apply no matter what. The first thing that I wrote down that as a big lesson that we learned was that it's just a lot of trial and error. So I don't need to repeat myself too much, but the kids are different. Just go out and try it. Like, you're never going to feel fully comfortable and ready to do it. until you just get out and experiment and give it a try. Next tip I have for you is when you're just doing this for the first few times with a baby or a kid, I would just stay as close to home as possible. And I know that's not quite as easy for some people depending on where you live. We are really lucky to live somewhere where we can hit a pretty decent campsite within 30 minutes, if that, sometimes less if it's one of the really close ones. And so that's just really nice when you don't know what you're to expect, you don't know how the kid's going to react or how the baby's going to react to it. The closer that you can be to where you live, it just means that it's that much faster that if all hell breaks loose, that you can just pack up the car, you can drive home, and then that distance is just shorter if you happen to be close. So if you live a few hours from anything, then that makes that a little tougher. Maybe try it in your driveway first. I know people that have done that. But for us, when we were first trying it, before we went on any major trips or anything, we would just do mostly overnight camping, and we would be within like 20 minutes of home. That way you have that peace of mind of if they just like are not having it or it's freezing or whatever, you just pack up and drive home. That's what's kind of nice about the whole overlanding and camping thing, is it's not like backpacking. You're not like trapped 10 miles in the backcountry with a kid or something. And then the last tip that I could think of has to do with kind of just being prepared. So we talked about the gear that helps you be prepared. So just kind of think ahead, like rather than kind of just being spontaneous and forgetting a bunch of stuff, make sure you write down checklists, do whatever you need to do to like make sure you have everything, whether that's food and stoves and propane and then all the baby stuff, diapers and wipes, and make sure you have plenty of all that stuff, plenty of formula or whatever you need, plenty of food. And then the recovery gear plays into that too. So I have a pretty well stocked setup truck as far as tools. Some things I didn't show you where I have on top, I have recovery ropes and soft shackles and jumper cables and all sorts of stuff. So anything that you can think of that would prohibit you from getting home or getting out of an emergency, try and be prepared with that and spend good money to have good stuff that works well, so that you can always get home, because that's really about the biggest danger that you're going to have. Like, it isn't that crazy of a thing, so don't be too stressed out about it. As long as you're well prepared to get out of some more unique situations, some more rare situations, you'll be able to get home and it won't be that big of a deal. So that's about all I've got for gear and for tips for taking babies and toddlers camping with you. Thanks for watching the video. Catch you next week.